Welcome back. You left me hanging to counterculture. I know I want to talk about you left me hanging.
Wow. This sounds like the title of a country song, an old country song.
It sounds like a song we
you
should
left
write.
Me hang, or like an old Western song for the guy that was hanged for stealing horses. You left me hanging.
Ooh. What about the horse that, they used to in the Old West? You'd sit on your horse with the noose around you, and then they'd pull the horse away from out from under you. What if that was your horse and you just left you hanging?
And your loyal horse
left you hanging.
Your horse now has to go to counseling.
Now I really want to preach this.
Yeah.
What happens when your horse leaves you hanging?
Hangification.
We have totally just changed words.
All right, we're done.
Hangification.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go.
Listen, I want everybody to know that's a Pastor Mark word. It must happen at the Church of the Nazarene.
Yeah. I've probably been hung up.
There will be some hangification this
I bet
week.
you there will. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Matthew, last week we talked a little bit about giving to the needy. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about another topic that everybody doesn't talk about. You ready? Fasting. So you knew it. We didn't even talk about it, so you know about it.
I did a Chasing the Wind some thousands of years ago.
Isn't it amazing?
Well, I'm like into year 5.
You are.
Okay.
You are the grandfather.
Oh yeah.
Of video.
You were doing it before me.
Here we go.
All right.
Why don't you read for me 16 through 18?
When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show men they are fasting. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, you put oil on your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to men that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Jesus is goes into the secret parts of our life.
He does.
Why He's a meddler.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Metalification.
Oh my word.
Metalizing.
Wow. Okay.
So Jesus is, right?
Yeah.
Jesus is, again, so much of this is directed at the religiosity of the time, right? Jesus said, listen, they got the right concept fast. Yeah. We talked about it last week. You said, Jesus says you got to give to the needy. Give to the needy. It seems to be more of a command than a, hey, if you decide you want to give to the needy, right? But here it's the same thing. When you fast, right? There doesn't seem to be this optional idea here. Right? But when you fast, I love my version because it's the right version, the ESV. It says, do not look gloomy. I love that word gloomy because I see it all the time. Sometimes I see it when I'm preaching.
Yes.
Right? Gloom,
it's usually
is all over the place.
When I'm preaching.
Wow.
But anyway.
I think I take grimacing.
See, when I was reading that out of the NIV, the old NIV, when you fast, do not look somber. I thought of Somber Town from Santa Claus Coming to Town. Remember the old one? Yeah.
Yep. That's my favorite.
And the Bürgermeister.
That's right. Listen.
Toys? We do not have no toys.
See, now I want to preach that.
I know. Okay.
But it's the idea, right? Fasting is super important in the Christian faith, right? We sacrifice in order to pray and to look to Jesus for things that we want, and a movement in the spirit world, right? So again, the concept though here is we're constantly fighting this idea that people know what we're doing. People are aware of what we want people to know. How often does somebody walk into your church and seemingly want everybody to know that they're miserable?
Do I have to answer that?
No.
Okay, thank you.
That was we find these truths to be self-evident, right? We know this, right? That how many times do I want people to know that I'm miserable? I want them to ask. Why? Because I want to be able to spew a bunch of stuff out to them.
Give you their organ recital.
Right.
My kidneys aren't working. My liver isn't working. My lungs aren't working. My heart's not working.
I've literally never heard that before.
Oh, haven't you?
Never.
That's an organ recital. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at it. So listen, Jesus says, when you want to give people an organ recital, don't. Right? Instead, do it in secret. Don't let people know what you're doing. Again, we talked a little bit about this with the give the needy, but this concept of don't let people know what you're doing. why is Jesus saying this about fasting? Because we could present the case that wouldn't we want people to join us in fasting? Wouldn't we want people to join us in prayer? Wouldn't we want people to know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and isn't it, here's the hard part about fasting in our society. We eat out a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like I could be fasting and I'm not supposed to tell you, but then you say, "Hey, Mark, let me buy you lunch because I'm needy." That way, you see a need, and
Yep.
because I'm grimacing apparently, or I'm somber, or what was your word?
I am gloomy.
Glooming. Yeah. So you say, "Oh, he just needs some sustenance," and then I'm in a conundrum.
What do I do?
Because I can't tell you I'm fasting, but so do I politely decline, "Oh, no, I'm good, Andy."
And then we start division in the church.
Pastor doesn't
told me no.
Told me no.
But guess what? The next day I see him out to eat with somebody else.
I know. And then it's like, "Why do you do it?" "I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you."
There you go.
What
do we do with this?
And then how do we do it without telling someone so that we can maybe encourage someone else to fast? And it does come back to our motives, and I think God knows our motives. I'm not doing this, God, to tell him how great I am, but to encourage someone else. You might try fasting. It's a good thing.
Right. When I was a kid, our pastor that we had for most of my high school, all of my high school really, and some of my college, he fasted every single lunch for the people of the church. The only reason I know that is because he couldn't do lunches with people.
Yeah.
And again, he just like, this is what I'm doing, right? And over time, like you remembered that, right? I didn't ask him when my family's day was, and when I was on there. You're like, "When are you fasting for me, Pastor?" But I'm sure that it was profound. It made a difference in my life. But we're doing it in such a way that it's an us and God thing, don't you think? It's not an us, God, and other people thing from the standpoint of they need to know.
Yeah, and fasting. I'm looking at my notes from 500 years ago when I did this. Fasting is not about the food; it's about the focus.
Yep.
It's not about because it doesn't have to be about food. It's about, and it could be social media, it could be all sorts of things.
Could be football.
It could be football, so that I can get focused on God. The other one is fasting is to lose the weight that holds you down, whether it's spiritual, physical, mental, or emotional weight. It's saying, "God, I need to pull away from this so that I can really get focused on you and help me not lose weight," though intermittent fasting is a big thing, but that I may lose the weight of those things that burden me because I am laying them down at the foot of the Lord. And so I think it goes back again to motive. Why are we letting a person know, "Hey, Andy, I'm fasting today. Here's another thing. Would you join me in that fast today?" Or whatever. "I have some things I need to really be light in my load. Would you join me in that fast?"
Man, what a great thing. Imagine the fear and trembling that people would have of going up to ask somebody, "Hey, will you skip a meal for me?"
Yeah.
And really, but then again, lots of people would skip the meal. But how many people, like especially if you're in the workplace, right? You could get away with skipping the meal.
Yeah.
But are you going to find a place where you could actually sit, stand, walk, and really pray for somebody? Right? This whole idea, right? That there's this secret mission that's going on if we do it right. That God literally would ask people to team up with him to pray for you or I, and to do it in a sacrificial way, right? But now we get rid of all of the, "Well, you did it for me, so I have to do it for you," or "Wait, you did it for me, but it didn't work, Pastor Mark. Like yours didn't work, but this other person over here you prayed for, and man, they got healed immediately," or whatever it is, right? It takes away. There's almost this. God's asking us to team up with him on secret missions.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this person needs some prayer right now, right? So again, as we look at this in a counterculture, the culture's telling us, put this all out. Let people know what you're doing, right? Let people know, that you're praying for them, or that you're, announce it from the rooftops. God seemingly says here, hide it in the basement, right? How?
But wait, no one will know how great I am.
There you go. Nobody will know how.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
It never happens to me. People already know how great I am not. So it's a fantastic world, right?
Yeah.
Looking at this from a counterculture, how do we encourage our people to really fight against this tendency to just constantly letting other people know. It happens on Facebook, happens on all of our, all of these new social media platforms, all of this, where we're just constantly pouring out all of our stuff on people.
Well, I think this is a piece of the problem with American Christianity, Western Christianity. Let's put it that way. Is we're looking for we don't want to wait for the reward. We want everything quick and now, and we want to make sure everybody knows what we're doing. And it doesn't have to be fasting. I can remember people, I want to sing a song, a special on Sunday, and why do we want to do that? Why do we want to participate? Do we want to do it to really serve God, or are we doing it out of because people will know what I've done?
Yep.
Here's where, and it can fall in with pastors too. We want to be the good pastor.
Yeah.
We want to be the good pastor. Yeah. It really makes me wonder sometimes, and you're not going to see this pastor in skinny jeans. It ain't going to happen. I've wore biker, like bicycling shorts before, and the ones that make you feel like you're wearing a diaper, And I thought to myself, first time I saw those, I thought, I'm never going to get out of those things. You peel them off, I don't want to wear pants that got to be peeled off me, and I'm too old to be looking like cool. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to be the cool pastor. I want to be the faithful pastor.
Amen.
I want to be the one that, as my prayer on Saturday nights, I have a routine that I do before I preach on Sundays, Lord. I just want them to know their pastor has been with the Lord. As it said in Acts, they could tell that they had been with the Lord.
Amen.
I don't have to be cool. I don't have to be the prince of preachers. I just got to be a faithful preacher, because that's what God's asked me to do. I don't need to tell people I'm fasting so that I can get kudos. It's enough to know that God knows. But if it encourages someone, I think we ought to check our motives. Why are we doing what we're doing?
Amen.
Any of us, we need to check that. Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Amen. Well, that sounds like a perfect place to stop and be challenged. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? If you need people to know that you're doing Christian things, well, then why are you doing that? Why do you need them to know? Mm-hmm. So check your motives this week. We'll see you next time. Counterculture.
Grace and peace.